Welcome to the fourth episode in this series as I document my journey towards the sub-3 hour marathon at Edinburgh this year. In this episode, we're going to be looking at a variety of different gels. So I experimented with some of these on my long run, and yes, I actually was able to get out and run this week, which was fantastic. The calf is feeling better. So I'm going to talk you through how these sort of felt and how they tasted on the run. Now, the focus of this episode is going to be how to hit high carbohydrate numbers. So my long run this week was a 2-mile warm-up, followed by 2 rounds of 6 miles at race pace and then 2 miles recovery. So we totaled, 16, about 18 miles during this run. So it was planned to be about 2 hours 10. Now, if I'm running for 2 hours 10, what I wanted to do is calculate how much I'm going to be consuming during that, so I could then plan my nutrition accordingly. The reason I wanted to experiment with a wide range of different gels is one, just because I was curious and I thought I'd be able to explain some of the different flavor profiles and textures with you. But also it's good to have an experimentation in training, because when you get to race day, you don't want to try loads of new things. But reading between the lines there, if you're not trying lots of new things on race day, you need to try some new things during training. So playing around with some gels, seeing what you like, what you're naturally gravitating towards, so that you can then really enjoy your race nutrition plan. Here is how I hit 90 grams of carbohydrate per hour. Today's run, I'm planning 90 grams of carbohydrate per hour. Really high intake. I want to be running with that quantity, so I need to plan to start training with it. How do you then plan your nutrition? So I am looking at the amount of minutes in my training run. So I'm running 120 minutes today, so 2 hours. 120 minutes, if you divide that, so the duration of your run in minutes, by 60. So for me, I'm doing 120 divided by 60 is 2, and then times that number by the amount of carbohydrate that you plan to run with. So I'm doing 2 times 90, I need 180 grams of carbohydrate. You can then scatter that between gels or drinks to create your plan. This is how I've done it. I've got one sports drink, which I'm mixing at a 6% solution. So that is an isotonic mix with that. But because I'm going to be drinking that at the same time as water, it's kind of coming in like a hypotonic mix. So that's going to be good for hydration as well as a bit of fuel in there. So I've got 30 grams. This is 40, so that's now 70. This is a 27 gram gel, so let's round that to 25. So I have 95. This is another 25, so I have 120. This is 25, so I have 145. And this last one is 30, so I have 175. So I'm looking for 180, so that's pretty much there. In terms of how am I going to drink this, well, I'm going to sip on this one throughout the duration. And then my plan is to have 20 minutes, 40, 60, 120, 140. So nice even split. So I just have to look at my watch every 20 minutes. I've planned to have them coming in with the flavors that I dislike first, coming into the more neutral ones. So I've got this super cherry, then a raspberry mint, nice passion fruit one, and then 2 unflavored gels. I'm going to be reviewing these gels afterwards to give my thoughts on taste profile and texture to let you know how I get on. And if you're planning to have them in a specific order, then it's worth remembering which packets you put in them. So I'm putting all the flavoured ones in this left bit, and I'm going to put these 2 in this pocket here. Okay, so the run went really well, which is fantastic news. I was quite nervous the calf would go, but I was able to get through it. I stuck with my fueling plan, although I had this one instead of at 20 minutes at 15. That's absolutely fine if you want to pivot around a little bit. The reason I did that is because my hard set was just about to start, and I thought it's going to be easier running slower to be able to get the gel into me. So you don't have to be that strict with your timings. If you're a few minutes out either side, that's absolutely fine. So the first one I had was this OTE cherry, and it's not bad. It's fairly wet. It was quite easy to get down. I'm not really sure why I had the cherry flavour, because I'm not actually a big fan of cherry, but a big whopper of 40 grams of carbohydrate. So it's really putting me and ticking me along towards my carb numbers. So this one, fairly easy to get down. Happy with that. The next one I had was the Healthspan Elite. Personally, I quite like the flavour profile of this one. It's a little bit more gloopy. Fairly sweet as well, but the passion fruit flavour feels quite natural, which is nice. And that's because it's flavoured not just with natural flavourings, but it's actually flavoured with passion fruit extract. Again, I'm not trying to sell you anything here, I'm just explaining what the product is. Quite a small carb intake though, so maybe not ideal if you're really trying to get up to those high numbers only using these. I then had the Kendall mint cake, and this was a weird one. If you've never had a mint flavored gel, it's quite, well, it kind of takes you a bit by surprise. But having had loads and loads of sweet, it's quite nice just to break the monotony there. So I didn't mind this at all. I think there's 27 grams of carb in that. So again, it was ticking me along nicely towards the goal. That was 20, 40, 60 minutes. At 1 hour 20, I had a Morton gel. Now I've tasted this one because I've recently done a YouTube review, sort of looking at the taste profiles and the sweetness profiles of all of these. But I've never actually had this one on the move, and I was quite curious to see how it went. By this stage, my hands were quite cold, quite numb, and I really struggled to actually open the gel. That's nothing to do with Morton, that's just to do with my lack of blood flow to my extremities. But I managed to rip it open, and fortunately it split across the whole top. Because this gel is, I mean, gel doesn't really describe it, it's more of a thick jelly. As I sort of squeezed it out, instead of it being wet and it going around like in your mouth like a normal gel, it almost felt like it was a thin tongue that kind of just lapped and splat on my tongue, like a really thin slab of jelly. Now, having not experienced that before, even though I knew it was coming because I knew the texture, I kind of panicked in that moment and just swallowed it in one, which was a bit strange. And then I had this bizarre feeling of it sort of slowly going down, which was a bit weird. But because I didn't, I mean, it's unflavored, but because I didn't chew it and it didn't go around my mouth, you don't sort of get that, oh, that was a really sweet, or sort of, it doesn't linger at all. So I didn't mind that at all, actually, although it was quite, I wasn't used to it or wasn't expecting it. I then finished off with the Precision Fuel and Hydration one. This is also unflavored. So the reason I put the two unflavored ones right at the end is because by that stage I was just a bit done with flavor, and I was like, I'm going to put the unflavored ones in because they're a bit easier to get down. This one is not as thick as the sort of really jelly-like one. However, it is a lot thicker than the rest. You do have to squeeze it a little bit and work for it, but that's absolutely fine. So I didn't mind this one at all, and I'm probably going to be using a combination of these as well as this one during my actual run. Next week, we're going to be looking at some sweat testing. So I'm going to explain why I'm actually going to go about sweat testing and what that means for my hydration plan. I'm also going to talk you around electrolytes and whether I actually need to have any of these coming in. I'll see you then.